What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. You lost to the Jets. You lost to Zach Wilson. Honestly, Zach Wilson didn't even beat you. You beat yourselves. You beat yourselves. That is the entire discussion for today's game. You deserve to lose that game. You drastically played down to your competition, regardless about all the injuries that you went through in this game. Blankenship. You lost Lane Johnson, which became a huge factor because Jack Driscoll just got zero help at all. That's terrible adjustment on Brian Johnson's side, not giving Driscoll any help because the Jets just constantly attacked that side of the field ever since Lane Johnson left the game with the ankle injury. They're saying the x-rays are negative. I'm not sure how long he's going to be out for, but that was a huge difference in the game. Offensively, after scoring your second touchdown on DeAndre Swift, that pass into, him battling into the end zone, your offense was basically lifeless from there. You get drives that you could possibly go down the field for, and then you turn into a miscue, and then you turn into a turnover, and then you give the ball back to the Jets, and then you can't do anything, and then Jake Elliott misses a clutch late field goal late in the game, which would have been huge for you. And then here comes your injured defense doing literally everything possible because Zach Wilson sucks. Because Zach Wilson sucks. They're doing everything possible to keep the Jets off the board. They're keeping them in the field goals only until very late into the game. Your defense did everything today for you. And I need to say something about your wideouts right now because how is A.J. Brown, out of all of your wideouts, A.J. Brown's a fantastic player. How is he the only guy getting open against this battered secondary for the Jets? They're not playing Sauce Gardner. They're not playing any of their better secondary players. How is no one else getting open? Then you also get Devontae Smith dropping, 2 easy first down plays. You get the bounced, from Dallas Goedert, which turned into an interception. You get the punched ball out of DeAndre Swift's hands, and then you get Jalen Hurts with a couple of bad throws as the game went on. Jalen Hurts got worse as the game went along. I thought overall, even before that last interception in the game, I was going to come out of this game. If you found a way to win, Jalen Hurts wasn't the issue. Jalen Hurts became one of the issues because that 3rd and 9 play call, when all you need to do is run the clock out, because you're winning 14-12, you're out of the 2-minute warning, the Jets have 0 timeouts, you're not even running the clock out, you're making up pass plays in your own territory on 3rd and long. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then it just goes right for an easy interception, goes right down the field. Okay, you let them get the touchdown so that it doesn't drain any clock, time off the clock. And then the worst possible 3-and-out I can ever see in my life. You couldn't make any passes. One throw was a little too high to A.J. Brown. And then, you can't convert anything else because Devontae Smith couldn't get any fieldage. And then you try to take a deep shot to Devontae Smith in triple coverage, and nothing happened. The one pass, which led to the last interception of the game for Jalen Hurts, he didn't get anything on it, and he's throwing to Dallas Goedert in double coverage. The reads today by Jalen Hurts later on in the game, just nothing. It was terrible as the game went along, like I said. There's blame to put on Brian Johnson because, once again, your red zone play calling is utter trash. It is utter trash. You don't get any scores in the second half at all. Your last score was the DeAndre Swift touchdown. You got shut out in the second half by this injured and battered Jets defense. How are you not able to score against that? That is a joke. And all the turnovers and everything going into this game, you played down to your competition. You played down to your competition. That is basically the entire summary of this game. You played down to fucking competition. That is unacceptable. And no, this is not the excuse. This is not what we're going to say after this game. Oh, the Eagles were due to lose this game. They were due to lose the game. They were 5-0 to start the year. They were overdue to lose the game. Look at the 49ers. They lost. They lost to a Cleveland Browns team that's not good. They got stuffed by their defense, even though it came down to the 49ers missing a field goal to lose the game. So there you go. The 49ers probably could have won that game if their kicker didn't, shank it wide right. So both undefeated teams after this week are not undefeated anymore. But it still doesn't come to the fact that you drastically played down to your competition. You look terrible. Besides your defense, you look terrible. Josh Jobe on the defensive side was getting torched the entire game. Their defensive front, even without Jalen Carter, it's still dominated. Hassan Reddick getting some huge sacks, Josh Sweat with sacks, Jordan Davis and Brandon Graham getting into the mix, Fletcher Cox as well. I don't get it. I don't get it. There needs to be some serious discussions about Brian Johnson right now. There really needs to be. And it's not to the fact that, no, Brian Johnson is not at fault for Dallas Goedert getting the ball knocked out of his hand, which turned into an interception. He's not at fault for DeAndre Swift getting the ball knocked out of his hand. He's not responsible for Jalen Hurts throwing so many interceptions, even though the one interception was because of Jack Driscoll not being able to block the tackle coming into it, and his tackle was able to get an arm on Jalen Hurts as he was making the throw to make the throw shorter than it actually was supposed to be. But then once again, it just comes to stupid play calling, stupid decision making when you're going towards the end of the game after the 2-minute warning. Why did you just run the clock out? And you couldn't get the run game going at all when previous weeks teams are running all over the Jets. How could you not get the run game going? You were getting stuffed every opportunity that you got. Jalen Hurts was just constantly scrambling. He had no time in the pocket at all. I was even surprised at some of the plays in the beginning of the game where he didn't take sacks. He made one impressive throw to, I believe it was the A.J. Brown, when 3 guys are chasing him. Somehow a guy has an arm on him and they can't take him down, and Jalen Hurts makes the impressive throw. So as you're going through the game, like I said, I thought Jalen Hurts wasn't the issue, but then he became the issue along with everything else basically besides your defense. This was one of the worst offensive games that you've had in like over a year. This fully reminds me of like your offensive ineptability in that wildcard game against Tampa Bay. That's what this reminds me of. You couldn't get anything going in that wildcard game. You got completely dominated and stuffed by Todd Bowles. That entire game was just trash. This game was utterly trash against lesser competition. Zach Wilson didn't beat you. Zach Wilson was utter trash this game. Did you see the sacks that he took in this game to put the Jets out of touchdown range, which forced them into field goal territory? And I thought the Jets made some stupid decisions as well. For one of their decisions on 4th down, that they don't kick a field goal. They actually decide to punt the ball. I'm actually thinking to myself, what the hell are you doing? I would have went for it in that instance. But I guess the Jets knew something that we didn't, because the Eagles' offense just completely sucked the entire way. Completely sucked. Seriously, you couldn't get anything going in the second half. Even when you thought you did, even when Jalen Hurts actually throws some dimes to A.J. Brown, it completely the very next play, it goes the other way because you make a turnover or you can't convert. Because one, you either get stuffed, Jalen Hurts has to scramble, and then he can't get anything out of it, or once again, you throw a turnover. It just kept happening on and on and on and on and on, or you're being forced to punt the ball. Seriously, if we look at the plays right now from the Eagles after their second touchdown of the game, so we go after that second touchdown in the second quarter, let's go to the Eagles' plays throughout the rest of the game. 3 plays, fumble. First play of the second half. 6 plays, you punt the ball. The very next one, 3 and out. The next play, 5-play interception. The next play, 9 plays, missed field goal. The next one, 8 plays, interception, and then a 4 and out. It can't happen. That can't happen. Because if you look at the first play of the game, your first drive of the game, after you forced the Jets to punt, it was an over 9-minute drive, over 10 plays. You find a way to get a touchdown, even though it was very close. They didn't call it the touchdown on the field, but eventually they overturn it and all that stuff. It eventually becomes a touchdown. And then eventually the interception happens because of the play to Dallas Goedert where he got the ball knocked out of his hands. And then you get that touchdown going back down the field after your defense gets a huge sack thanks to Hassan Reddick. DeAndre Swift gets the touchdown there. But then if we look at some of these other plays, after the Jets get their second field goal, the game when it becomes 14-6. The DeAndre Swift play where pass comes right out of the shotgun from Jalen Hurts to DeAndre Swift in the middle of the field, runs a little bit, gets the ball completely just punched out of his hand. So I guess you could say credit to the defender there of the Jets, just completely punched it out of the hand. It was mostly. So it becomes Jets ball again, and they go back down the field and kick a field goal. That just can't happen. It becomes 14-9 Eagles after the half. And then you get a 6-play first drive in the second half that eventually turns into a punt. That just can't happen. It just can't happen. You get a first down on the first play, then you just can't figure anything else because you're taking some stupid penalties. There was also stupid penalties that took you out of some key situations in this game as well. That made it, first and long, second and long, where you couldn't do anything. And then either when you decided to run the ball on a first down, you would lose some yardage because DeAndre Swift or anything else couldn't get anywhere. Seriously, the only run game that you had today was from Jalen Hurts. DeAndre Swift had 10 carries for 17 yards. 10 carries for 17 yards. 8 carries for 47 yards for Jalen. And then that was basically it. A.J. Brown was fantastic this game. He was basically the only guy on offense that was trying to do anything the entire day. Devontae Smith had a terrible game. He dropped 2 easy first downs that he should be making every day of the week. That's like a rare sighting that I see. Devontae Smith dropping 2 easy passes in a game. That was weird to see. Dallas Goedert didn't have a good game. DeAndre Swift didn't have a good game. And Jalen Hurts didn't have a good game. Like I said originally, I thought he wasn't going to be the issue. I thought he was going to be one of the lone positives from this game. He turned into a problem. He turned into an issue. 28 of 45, 281 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and he took 2 sacks for a loss of 12 yards there. All the turnovers in this game, ridiculous. The interceptions, which one of them turned into a 45-yard interception. I believe that was the one at the end of the game. It just can't happen. It just can't happen. And then you lose the fumbles, and you can't do anything there. It's a joke. It's a joke. Defensively, look at some of these guys on defense. You lose Reed Blankenship. You lose Lane Johnson on the offensive side. You're losing a lot of guys here. A ton of guys. But still, some of these guys are stepping up. Hassan Reddick had a fantastic day. 2.5 sacks there. Milton Williams, he left the game originally, came back, got a sack. Jordan Davis looked good. Brandon Graham looked good. Your defense was basically Josh Sweat looked good. Everyone was doing everything. Besides, Josh Joe was really the only guy on defense that I had an issue with the entire game. Your defensive front was still doing shit, and credit all the hell to Sean Desai because he found a way to get something out of his defense with how injured and banged up it is. And I can't imagine going into next week against the Miami Dolphins with how injured the secondary is. Holy shit, Tyreek Hill is going to have a field day. He's going to have a field day next week. Seriously, if you look at the upcoming Eagles schedule and how difficult it is, you look back at this loss, and it's like you really lost to the Jets. And seriously, this is not going to be the excuse of, oh, they were just due to lose a game. Okay, if they went up against the Miami Dolphins team, a Chiefs, a Bills, a 49ers, I would understand the loss. I would understand, okay, you're losing to a good team. Okay, I understand that. This, you drastically played down to your competition. Your offense got shut down in the second half because of basically shooting yourself in the foot multiple times. Multiple times. And then you find a way to lose again. Well, not again. You found a way to lose after the Jets were literally hand gifting you the game on a silver platter thanks to your defense. Zach Wilson, seriously, I think Zach Wilson was shocked on how many times he got possession to try to get the Jets the lead. I'm sure he was surprised. Like, I'm getting the ball back so many times because this team can't score on offense. What the hell? I've never experienced this in my entire life. Somehow you just couldn't get one score. And of course, the Jake Elliott field goal to put the icing on the cake to where, just terrible offensively. That was his second missed field goal this entire year. It was that bad of a game offensively. That bad. And seriously, I do, this reminds me of year 1 Nick Sirianni where the play calling was just that bad. And then he took away his offensive play calling, gave it to Shane Steichen, and everything changed from there that year. They went on that long stretch of winning, got into the playoffs with a 9-8 record. And then we all know what happened last year with how dynamic the offense was. This feels like year 1 Nick Sirianni again. It really does. Because Brian Johnson right now just, even though, like I said, he's not at fault for Goedert, for Swift, for all these guys, dropping the ball and forcing those turnovers. That's not his fault. There's certain play calls, specifically, like I said, after the 2-minute warning, why aren't you fucking running the ball when the other team doesn't have a fucking timeout? It's a joke. It's a joke. It's simple 101. You learn that in Pee-wee. Seriously. 5-year-olds know this. You can't figure that out, Brian Johnson? No, we got to throw it on 3rd and 9, and Jalen Hurts puts the worst throw possible of the entire game in that scenario. Joke. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable on how you can have that bad of a game. Seriously, I like the receivers. How are none of your top receivers besides A.J. Brown wide open the entire game. How? And that's been a constant theme the entire season. Jalen Hurts can't find his receivers open. There's been an issue with, Devontae Smith having consistent catches throughout the game. Even though A.J. Brown was absolutely spectacular, this is his 4th week in a row with over 125 yards receiving. Like, that's unreal. He's the first Eagle in franchise history to do that. He's the only one getting open. Devontae Smith can't get open. Now you lost Quez for a couple of weeks. Zacchaeus is back in there. You were force-feeding a lot of throws to DeAndre Swift today, which was very weird, implementing him into the pass game. Dallas Goedert was barely involved today after his, the ball got knocked out of his hands. You basically couldn't do anything. It was really just let Jalen Hurts scramble in the pocket and find a way to do something magical, and that came back to fucking bite you in the ass. After you lost Lane Johnson, it was a lost cause. We all know how special Lane Johnson is as preventing sacks, and the record for the Eagles is very glaring when you don't have Lane Johnson in the lineup compared to it, because it's very drastic. It is very, 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 very drastic. So I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. It's an ankle injury they were talking about. They did say the x-rays were negative. I do believe Derek Gunn said that on Twitter. So I'm not sure if it's going to be like a week thing, a week-to-week or day-to-day type of thing. But if he finds a way to play next week, and it's going to be difficult to keep Lane Johnson out of the lineup. But if he's not starting next week against Miami, Jesus Christ, like I said, the Dolphins are going to have a field day next week with all the injuries that you have. You lose a Reed Blankenship. You lose a lot of guys on the secondary again. You didn't have Darius Slay this game. You didn't have Jalen Carter this game. I don't know, man. It's ridiculous. It's an absolute joke that you lost that game. The Jets were hand-delivering you that game. Your defense was hand-delivering you that game. You're seriously seeing Hassan Reddick on the sidelines trying to pump the offense up. Like, hell, come on, guys, wake it the fuck up. Come on, we're doing everything possible here. I'm getting all the sacks in the world. We're making Zach Wilson look like Zach Wilson. Come on, guys. Just go down and get a goddamn touchdown. Get a goddamn 6 points. That's all you got to do. You get 6 points, the game's done. The game's over. That's all you needed was one more touchdown. One more touchdown, you would have won the game. But no. You needed to stab yourself in the foot every fucking second. Because your play calling was fucking terrible. And your offensive players were terrible besides A.J. Brown. That was it. That's everything there. It's ridiculous. And if you look at the schedule upcoming for the Eagles, it's not going to get any easier. Man. This is what's going to make this loss even more glaring. If you look at the upcoming schedule for this Eagles squad, it just gets more difficult. You play Miami next week on Sunday Night Football, and then you play the Washington Commanders, who gave you issues already this year. You found a way to win in overtime, but they still gave you issues. The Dallas Cowboys before the bye week. You go to the bye week, you come out of the bye week, and you play the Chiefs on the road. And then you play 2 straight home games against Buffalo and San Francisco, and then you go on the road to Dallas and Seattle after that. How many games is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9-game stretch. This 9-game stretch. You need to go above 500 in this 9-game stretch. You need to go at least 5-4, 6-3. And that's not guaranteed against the competition that you're playing. It just isn't. It's not guaranteed against Miami because they're putting up points at will. They just are. Washington gave you issues. Even though I do expect you to beat Washington, they still gave you fucking issues. That's the bottom line there. Dallas, even though they've been losing games, they lost to Arizona, they got blown out by the 49ers. Dak Prescott always steps up when he sees you, so of course we know that rivalry, everything there. Everyone's going to be pumped up for that. Rematch of the Super Bowl last year, even though the Chiefs offensively aren't the same, they're still the Chiefs. You can't, take them lightly. Buffalo, same thing. Buffalo has their ups and downs. San Francisco got their first loss of the year. Brock Purdy looked awful, but I'm sure they're going to be pumped up to play you after what happened in last year's NFC Championship game. You're playing in Dallas again, and then Seattle, which will be tough playing in that stadium. And then, your schedule does definitely lighten out in the last 3 games against New York, Arizona. Well, the Giants in Arizona for those last 3 games. But still, this 9-game stretch, man, You seriously just had to lose to the Jets. You had to lose to the Jets. Maybe this loss wakes them up. Maybe this loss, puts a spark into their head saying, "Oh my God, we got to be fucking better." And I'm sure that's going to be the same words coming out from Jalen Hurts' mouth. That's what he's going to say. He's been saying it basically every week at this point, that they got to be better. That they got to be better. So, my God. Here we go. Here comes A.J. Brown. Apparently, players were speaking up in the locker room after the game and not Nick Sirianni. A.J. Brown says, "We are holding each other accountable. We will grow from it. We have a standard here. We didn't play our standard. We have to hold each other accountable." Yeah, they're going to have that, mindset after this game. I'm not shocked about that scenario. The locker room's tight. They're close. They know they played a shit game. They know they played a shit game. Do I expect them to be better after this? Yes. Maybe this loss could be a blessing in disguise. I don't know. Hopefully it puts a fucking thorn in the ass of Brian Johnson. I forgot his name for a second. I don't know why, because he's been basically irrelevant and terrible the first so many weeks, so that's probably why I forgot his name, because he's just been that bad. But I'm trying to see like all the injuries that you got from this week, because it's just Jesus Christ. I need to see the injuries from this game. So let's see. What's today? Let's see from today. So let's see all the injuries that you got today. So we know Jalen Carter didn't play. We know Sidney Brown didn't play. We know Darius Slay wasn't playing. So Rashad Penny, of course, he wasn't playing. Lane Johnson leaves with the ankle injury. You lose Eli Ricks. You lose Reed Blankenship because of rib injury. And you lose Bradley Roby during the game as well. So you just lost so many people. It's ridiculous. It just is. I'm trying to see if there's any quotes from Nick Sirianni. I'm just trying to see. The fact that you lost that many players to injury and you're still in a position to win that game. It's sad that you lost that. It's so sad that you lost that. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? I don't think there's anything else here Twitter-wise regarding the loss, unless there's just a Nick Sirianni quote that I'm missing. I'm trying to see if there's anything here. I don't think there's anything here on Twitter-wise after this game. So, let's see. Let's see. Let's get to the anytime hotline. Yeah, let's get to the anytime hotline. Listen to your guys here. We do have a voicemail here from Sean. You can leave any voicemails or text messages at 215-839-9885. Your thoughts and opinions, you can leave those there. You can also utilize the YouTube live feed. Let's go to Sean so he can shut me up. Yeah, you deserve to lose the game. That is basically it. I think A.J. Brown doesn't deserve any criticism. He was basically your best player on the entire offense. He made some impressive catches the entire day. Like, he went a fourth week in a row with 125-plus yards, but basically besides that, the rest of your offense was absolutely dreadful. After you lost Lane Johnson, your offensive line couldn't make a stop. They couldn't, keep Jalen Hurts, away from pressure. And yeah, Jalen Hurts, there were some runs today where he looked good. There were some runs today that looked bad. He was scrambling basically the entire game. Basically it. He was being forced to scramble and make plays happen. And when you're being forced to do that for too long, it's not going to work out. And especially when your guys can't get open. Like, seriously, that's been my issue for so many weeks now. A.J. Brown's finding ways to get open. Why can't Devontae Smith find ways to get open? It feels like every single week at this point, there's an issue where Jalen Hurts can't find a guy open downfield. That's the problem. When they're trying to take that deep shot, I feel like there are some plays where they're trying to take a shot downfield, and Jalen Hurts is taking way too much time because he can't find anybody open. That's been an issue. That's been an issue for a long time this year. So I don't understand how nobody else besides A.J. Brown can't get open against this battered up New York Jets secondary. That's one of my major issues with the offense besides the turnovers. Your receivers should have been having a field day against this secondary with how injured they are. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It didn't need to be that difficult. Even without Lane Johnson, I know Lane Johnson is a crucial piece to that offensive line, and that's up to Brian Johnson to give Jack Driscoll help on that right side because the Jets made an adjustment. They attacked that side because they knew Driscoll was the weak point, and Driscoll proved that he was the weak point. So that's a bad decision there from Brian Johnson and everything else there. It can't happen. Jeff Statland also needs to help out, maybe adding some protection there to help Driscoll out. You need help there. He's an obvious weak link, and he's nowhere close to replacing Lane Johnson. No one's that close to replacing Lane Johnson. You just got to hope that he's not out long term, and it doesn't look like it's going to be that case. We'll probably find that out tomorrow. They said the x-rays were negative, so you got to hope that he's day-to-day, hopefully. Maybe he misses one game, and in that one game is going to be very crucial because you'll be going up against the goddamn Dolphins. Oh, my God. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous that you lost that game. It just is. How do you lose to the fucking Jets? How do you lose to the fucking Jets? I don't care that they made some other good teams look weird. I don't care that the Chiefs struggled. Even the Chiefs had those issues against the Jets, too. Like, I don't care. Find a way to go beat them. Find a way to go beat them. I mean, Alex, this is an issue I've been having with the Eagles every week. That's an issue I've been having with the Eagles every week. Their receivers besides A.J. Brown can't get open. I don't know why. What else? Yep, Payne. I know that. Star Wars. They're not going to fire Brian Johnson. That's not going to be the case. You don't fire an offensive coordinator midway through the season. First time the Eagles lose to the Jets in the franchise history, really. Yep, unacceptable. This was clearly the Eagles' charity game where they gifted the win to the Jets. They shouldn't have. Mike says it's the offensive play calling fault that we lost. When did the Eagles become a pass-first team? Like, come on, man, we know better. Yeah, they definitely did abandon the run in this game. But the run wasn't getting go anywhere either. They just kept getting stuffed. I don't know why, but they kept doing it. God. What else? Trying to see if there's any other word from this game. I don't think there is. Let's see, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts says, didn't make the correct read. So many mistakes, like you're giving it away. Oh, no shit. Yeah, the issues have definitely been a issue for... the turnovers have been an issue for Hurts this year. No doubt. Don't see anything else here on Twitter in regards to... Here we go. Jalen Hurts after the game says that I want to see something. Did you guys hear the voicemail? Did you guys not hear the voicemail here? That's why. For some reason, the voicemails didn't go through here. Yeah, okay, so you guys never heard the voicemail. Well, that sucks. That sucks there. Yeah, let me get you guys the voicemail here because for some reason you guys never. For some reason, my OBS system just completely destroyed that.
Flyers performance on Saturday and tried to play Can You Top This? What a disgusting 3 hours of football that was as a consumer, huh? I mean, just a wretched loss. The only one to me that is without criticism today is Sean Desai and the defense as a whole. They deserved a much better fate. And I thought it was telling at the end of the game that Hassan Reddick was yelling at the offense on the sidelines to basically get their heads out of their asses and start doing something, and ultimately they couldn't do it. The Jets even gave the Eagles a free shot at the end by scoring that touchdown too soon. Jalen Hurts, is it me, or is this guy turning into the new Donovan McNabb? Every time he does run, he gets nowhere. There's no explosiveness. There's no escapability. And his decision-making today was absolutely horrid. Any criticism he gets is well-deserved. Brian Johnson, don't understand the play calls at all. You're not running the ball. Once again, you're sitting DeAndre Swift on the sidelines at times when he needs to be out there. And on top of that, you basically have no roster going into next week's game against the Dolphins, who will probably hang about 60 points on what's left of our secondary. Just a disgusting, wretched loss today, but well-deserved nonetheless.
The one thing I really hope is that it doesn't kill the Phillies vibes. It shouldn't. It shouldn't nowhere in hell kill the Phillies vibes. It just feels like, I know Philadelphia fans right now will, they'll dread this loss today, and then tomorrow they'll flip the script and go right to Phillies for an NLCS game 1 tomorrow. That's definitely where we'll be on the playbook right there. So I'm not concerned about that. I just even though the Flyers really don't matter at this point, but I just don't want these 2 losses to kill the vibes that the city was going on for a little bit. I just don't want that to happen. Even though if the Phillies win tomorrow, we'll be back on, cloud 9 at that point. So that'll be beneficial in that standpoint. It's just the fact that you lost to the fucking Jets. That's my issue. You lost to the fucking Jets. I hate that. I hate that, man. I hate that. But what are you gonna do? Yes. Yeah, Devontae Smith had huge drops, like very uncharacteristic drops. I don't know, man. I don't know where that came from. Does it just happen at some points and it happened at the worst possible time? Yeah, sometimes that does happen. You gotta find a way to bounce around that, though. You know what I mean? But that's gonna do it for today, everybody. Very disgusting loss by this Eagles team. They're 5-1 on the season now. There's no more undefeated teams in the NFL anymore. What's on for the schedule this week? Obviously, Phillies tomorrow. A lot of Phillies this week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So, like I said for yesterday's Flyers recap, even though not many people were in there. So a little bit of housekeeping there. For tomorrow, we're not going to have a Phillies watch party because I will be going to game 1 of the NLCS for the Phillies tomorrow. So there won't be a watch party. There'll be the standard recap after the game, and then we'll go back to the watch parties on Tuesday and so on and so forth after that. So definitely, just stay tuned for the recap tomorrow. Enjoy tomorrow. It's going to take forever to get to that Phillies game. You know what I mean? Just leading up to first pitch and everything like that. So definitely going to be a very exciting week on the dock. And then for, Flyers, I know they play Tuesday, so maybe during the off day on Wednesday, we'll get back to some Flyers talk or something like that, whatever they do on Tuesday in the home opener against Vancouver. I know they play Thursday as well, but when Phillies and Flyers, go up neck and neck, the Phillies are always going to take the first priority at this point with, being in the NLCS and all that shit. So, so definitely focus on that. And then for the rest of the night, it'll be editing and watching this first ALCS game between the Astros and the Rangers. Currently, the Rangers are winning 1-0. They got bases loaded with 2 outs, and Marcus Semien is up at the plate. So we'll see how this game goes for both teams. But for now, move on. Bounce back after this week. Move on with the Phillies tomorrow. And they'll get our spirits back up. I can guarantee that. So thank you guys for joining tonight. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join the TTP Sports family. If you're new to the channel, I would definitely appreciate you for doing that. Also, use the code TTP Sports, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Great deal. Do not pass it up. Once again, thank you guys for joining me today. No Phillies watch party tomorrow, just the recap. So just make sure of that. And then I will